Hi all and welcome to another video. I'm your host Kosash and today I'm going to show you the best Trickster build ready for the launch day in Outriders. I've been playing the Trickster for the last 3 days and I have to be honest, I've struggled a bit. While I had no issues coming up with superly insane overpowered builds for the Technomancer and the Devastator, with the Trickster that wasn't the case. Now don't get me wrong, I could put together builds with insane DPS that could easily farm captains all day and solo ghost the boss very fast, but when it came to fighting multiple enemies in different arenas, they just weren't sustainable enough. Many a times I would end up with very low HP and sometimes even dying. And I don't want to put out a build like that. When the game launches, I want to have my character set up in such a way that when I go into a new encounter, into a new room where I don't know what type of enemies are in there or where they are located, I want to feel confident that I will emerge victorious at the end of that. So in light of this, I've put this build together, and let's start with the basics. So the Trickster is a close range class, just like the Devastator. So as the Trickster, we receive 5% extra health. Active shield grants us 5% damage mitigation. So whenever you have shield, 5% of the damage is reduced. And every close range kill heals you by 20% of your max health and grants you 12% shield. So killing enemies at close range will be our bread and butter, and it will be in our best interest. For our 2 class skills, we will go with Arm Streak, which increases close range weapon damage by 15%, again synergizing with our build, and 15% is insane compared to the 8% that most of the other classes get. And we'll go with Ace on Trumps, which increases armor piercing by 15%, boosting our damage a little bit further. Now for our skills. Our build is centered around Twisted Rounds, which is insanely powerful. In case you didn't know, Twisted Rounds increases your firepower by 123, which boosts your DPS greatly. Our other 2 skills are Temporal Blade, which paralyzes and slices enemies in front of you, dealing 162 damage and inflicting slow and interrupts all target. This is our only interrupt, and it's brilliant for crowd control as well. We will also use Slow Trap. Slow Trap mainly for crowd control and setting up shots. I can easily see Slow Trap being replaced by Cyclone Slice, which we unlock at level 9, which I believe will make the Trickster super overpowered, because I've seen on the mods that have rolled on the armor that has dropped for me so far, you can get 25% increased speed, healing, 35% normal and anomaly damage mitigation. So yeah, I believe Cyclone Slice will make the Trickster a very viable class. But for the time being, these are the 3 skills that we're gonna use. I haven't gone with Hunt the Prey just because the mods that really make it shine are dropped on the same pieces of armor for Twisted Rounds, and I don't want to give up Twisted Rounds to get Hunt the Prey. In terms of gear, now as I just told you earlier, the Trickster I feel is just a little bit too squishy. So with our gear we need to boost the amount of health that we get back. So for our armor, we are looking for firepower bonus. As you can see, I've got the maximum amount of firepower that I get and absolutely nothing in anomaly. Now for our weapons, because of how squishy we are looking to boost how much health we get back. So for my close range weapon, I'm using this automatic slug shotgun with weapon life leech, so every time I deal damage I'm getting health back. That's a good mitigation, and also it synergizes very well with our class skills where we get increased weapon damage, close range weapon damage. But we also need a weapon when the enemies are a little bit far away and we are low HP and we can't get to them. So in light of this, I have this light machine gun which rolled with Soul Devourer. So killing shots regenerate 62% of your health. So whenever my skills are timed out, are on cooldown, the enemies are too far away and I'm low health, I can just whip up my LMG, get a couple of kills, and I'm almost full HP. I mean, I'm at 200 HP, so 62 HP, it's more than 25%. So this is really very important. You can hopefully you can get this Soul Devourer on an assault rifle, which would make it even better, but I only got it on an LMG, so that's what I am using. In terms of armor perks, for our headgear, we are looking for Strong Twist, which makes our Twisted Rounds, while the skill is active, to increase weapons firepower by an additional 15%. So again, we are at close range, we're dealing damage. Because we're dealing more damage, we're killing faster. Because we're killing faster at close range, we're getting our HP back, and that allows us to keep going. On our chest piece we are using additional mag, which means that Twisted Rounds is effective for a second magazine before triggering the cooldown, which is brilliant. For our legs we are using Slasher. This basically gives us 2 temporal blades before we trigger cooldown, so we can use temporal blade twice. For our gloves I'm using Cut Loose, which reduces the cooldown on our temporal blade, which is brilliant because temporal blade is our only damage dealing skill. And for my boots I'm using Double Stop, which doubles the duration of the paralysis inflicted by temporal blade. And again we're using temporal blade for crowd control as well. Now let me show you what this build can do. First I'm going to show you terrain for my captain farm. This is the normal place and probably the strategy that most employ. You rock up here, you go straight for the captain. As soon as I get here, I do a melee, I enable my slow trap, temporal blade, unload my shotgun in him. He is dead. Whatever bullets I have left, use them up. Use another temporal blade up here, I melee here. Let's assume for a second that my skill are on cooldown, that enemies are far away. So what you would do is make good use of your melee and go to town with your LMG. 62 HP back. 62 HP back. So every kill gives you 62 HP back. Now you are sustained. You've got plenty of sustain. You won't risk dying. But let me show you another scenario, which will happen a lot at launch day, because you won't know where the enemies are in a room or how strong they are. You'll just rock up in there and hope for the best. So if this was a room where I didn't know where the enemies are, where the captain is, what I would do is I'd keep my LMG equipped, enable my Twisted Round, and start looking for enemies. Ooh, and there we go. That's an enemy. Start taking them out. Make good use of our skills. And just kill them. Oh, there's our captain. Ooh. We had someone behind us and I didn't realize. And you see, we're getting healed. Despite the fact that we've definitely not played this encounter to our best of ability. And we're playing behind cover, which is not the way that the Trickster should be played. And now I go for the captain. Even with the LMG, I should have no issues melting his thick head. And that's the captain done. Let's do a melee. I love the melees in this game. And yeah, now we have sustain. Now we cannot die. Now we can go on and fight for ages. And I'll give you that. It's not the ideal way to play the Trickster, but until we unlock the Cyclone Slice, this is the way that we have to play it. Now let me show you how we will deal with single targets and bosses.
As of recently.
And I'm back. Now for single targets and bosses, the only changes to your gear are the weapon perks. You want weapon life leech, because you won't be able to kill the boss that fast, so you won't be getting any other kills unless they have minions. You need to have a way to sustain yourself and get some health back. So what I'm using is my shotguns with weapon life leech on them. Actually, one of them doesn't even have a weapon life leech. So the way a boss encounter would play is I'd rock up in there, enable my Twisted Rounds, go straight for the boss, give him a melee, give him a slow trap, and unload my weapon in him. He's gonna teleport, because that's what he does. He really doesn't like you being in his face. And that's the boss, so very fast time, not as fast as the Technomancer, but probably faster than the Devastator. And it's only slower than the Technomancer because Ghost keeps teleporting around. Let's see what we get. I still haven't gotten a legendary out of this chest. Well, I've only gotten one legendary full stop since playing the game. So yeah, that's the build. It's not ideal. It's nowhere near as good as the Devastator or the Technomancer build, but it's the best that I could come up with, ready for launch day, to allow you to plow in there and start farming and level up to level 9 when you unlock Cyclone Slice, which I'm fairly confident will make this even more powerful. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please consider leaving a comment, pressing the like button and subscribing to our channel. thank you very much, and I'll see you in game. Take care.